So pretty recently I got a chance to speak with a very talented young lady who was confused about her upcoming Java developer interview. She reached out to me via YouTube comments under my channel, and then we decided that I will help her out by conducting a mock interview. Now, for this mock interview, I scheduled it in such a manner that I will ask behavioral questions, then I will ask core Java based questions, some system design, and some DSA problems. So, I wanted to cover every single topic that would be of most helpful towards her. I have intentionally decided not to edit out any part of it because I want to give you an experience that how does an actual interview feels like. Now, if you have an interview coming up soon and you want to do a mock interview with me, stay till the end because towards the very end of this video, I'm going to give the full information on how you can go ahead and book a mock interview with me. Why don't you just start by introducing yourself?
Sure. So basically, first of all, good afternoon. My name is Vansika Sa, and I do have around 4+ years of experience as a Java full stack developer, and my expertise align in Spring Boot, Angular, Java, and some of the database technologies like MySQL and PostgreSQL. And I also got a chance to work on some of the CI/CD pipeline like Jenkins, Kubernetes, Docker. And in my current role, I'm responsible for creating the according to requirement. I'm creating the new microservices architecture and also updating the existing microservices architecture by leveraging the Spring Boot as a backend and React.js to streamline the user face interfaces. And also we are using Apache Kafka for the real time notification services, and also we are using the CI/CD pipeline by leveraging the Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. And in addition to my technical skill, I am always seeking feedback from the mentors and for my leaders to ensure that everything is running smoothly. And yeah, I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Okay. Sounds pretty good. Thank you so much for providing the introduction.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a certain situation where, let's say, you had some disagreements with your manager? How did you handle it, or what was the situation like?
Yeah, so first of all, when I'm right now, I'm currently working in a Pragra for the shipment project, and where actually we have to provide the real time notification services. So where I suggested the Apache Kafka for the streamlined processing, but my manager suggested me the PubSub model for the GCP. But yeah, because I know that Apache Kafka is more better as compared to GCP, so that's why I told them that these are a scenario why the Apache Kafka is good rather than GCP. So yeah, this is how my approach to tell to the manager to the explain. And yeah, basically I also did some of the research for the Apache Kafka, and I prepared some of the document and some of the architecture just to explain my manager that why Apache Kafka is better than GCP. So that's how I have managed.
So, can you explain like some of the differences that you shared with your manager? Like, in what regards Kafka is better? What functionality do you think GCP would have provided, and why your manager was inclined towards GCP in the beginning? And what? How did you convince him to change his mind?
Okay, so basically, as far as I've researched for the Apache Kafka, is it basically it is using the two publisher and subscriber model. Basically, subscriber is one is a person. Basically, let's say I'm booking the Uber cab. So basically, I want an update that where the driver reach, and where he is reach, and where he's gonna arrive, everything. So it basically it will manage by the Apache Kafka. So the I draw first of the architecture of the Apache Kafka, the subscriber, publisher, what are the topics, brokers are there, and how the topics are works, and how the Apache Kafka is better than the GCP. So basically, by researching, I found that Apache Kafka is providing the better throughput and better architecture rather than GCP.
No, but what is your criteria of saying something is better than the other? Because yeah, of course, GCP PubSub also provides the same functionality, right? That you have a publisher and you have a subscriber. The subscriber can subscribe to the events that is being published. So if GCP can do the same thing, what Kafka does, How is Kafka going to be better? Well, is it something related to maybe it's cheaper to use Kafka, maybe it's cheaper to use GCP, and also initially why your manager was inclined towards GCP? What was like his point of view or her point of view?
Mm, yeah, it's much faster than GCP, and
Faster as in the number of
number of
events,
events. Yes.
so number of events published and subscribed.
Uh,
Wouldn't both be equally fast because the both underlyingly rely on the same pattern? And if your manager was proposing GCP, um, is your code currently being deployed in GCP, Google Cloud?
no.
Okay, then why the manager was proposing the GCP Kafka PubSub model?
Mm, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We can leave it at that. Don't stress yourself to stress out yourself. Let's talk about, let's say, what is the most difficult project that you had to face in your career? Like, what was the most challenging thing that you had to go through in your like 3.5, 4 years of experience?
Okay, so when I was working in the web optimization and software solution, so actually, it was a festival time, and we had a tight deadline for our project actually, because the next day we were about to going on the vacation. So that's why this is the very difficult part, because from the client side they were receiving the continuous pressure from the client actually. So we have to deploy on a production before the tomorrow morning, because we were all about to go to the went to the vacation. That's why we have so much pressure actually. So actually we all got together, we are a QAs, we are manager and all the clients, and discuss about what we can do in this situation. So actually first of all, we have deployed our whole code to the production, and just told to the QA that please taste this environment, because it's around 7 o'clock on the evening. So they taste all the code in around 1 hour, and yeah, we were good to go. But at the production actually we found one issue at around night. So I didn't remember the actual issue, but yeah, it's around the query optimization issue. Yeah. So so basically, it was a query was previously running on a testing server, and uh, we have to deploy on a production. So we just forgot to change the one something around query parameter from the testing to the production. So yeah, that's how this is the most difficult and challenging part throughout my career.
Okay, so if I have to summarize it, basically, let's say client reach out to you saying that hey, we need this change in production immediately. You did not had much time, you or your team did not had much time to go through it. Basically, treat it as a regular sprint or something, and have to make the change in the production basically the same day or same night. Around the change, you realize that there was also a bug, and then you had to scramble around and go and deploy and provide the fix before next morning when it was a holiday, so no one would be available. I think that's a fair assumption.
Yes.
So what was your role in all of this? Like, were you responsible for coordinating with everyone? Were you driving the project? Were you driving the solution? Were you the one actually made the change, or how did you
No, basically we are in a team. We are a two developer, I think two QA and one technical lead. So actually, yeah, we already made the changes throughout the day. Actually, whatever the requirement was, and yeah, actually, for the my responsibility is to just to make sure that everything is working smoothly. That I have developed what was my responsibility, what was my what was my requirements, that everything is working correctly, and all the github code and everything, everything is working correctly. Yeah.
So you are only responsible for just making the code change. That's it, right?
Code changes, yes.
Okay. So in my opinion, I think the most difficult part in this case was the tight deadline. Apart
Yes.
from that, it wasn't that difficult. Let's say if you have to do it all over again, how would you do things differently so that you are not in such a jeopardizing situation? Because if some, let's assume you are making a quick fix to production, you found one issue and you fixed it on the go. What if that issue might have spiraled out of control and you had no way to remediate that, and then next day no one is available to fix it? Then how would you handle it?
Mm.
What would you have done differently out of this?
Yeah, actually, I had in the that situation, I would have, checked everything twice before going to production. Actually, everything, some of the sometimes we are making very huge changes, and forget some of the small issues. So basically, I can run everything before going to production. Actually, every query I would have run. So this is how I can leverage the issue before going to production.
Don't you think that in such scenarios, having automated test cases part of your CI/CD would be helpful? Or do you have any experience implementing something like that? So that
Yes.
you don't have to individually rely on your own to make sure that you go through each of the processes. Humans can make mistakes. It's, let's say you are being very diligent, but some other developer can also make that mistake. So how would you avoid that, like, human error component as part of this whole deployment process?
Yeah, so basically we can use the CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins and Docker. So this is how we can.
No. Yeah, through Jenkins and Docker, you would use Jenkins to build and Docker to basically publish, like, containerized images.
Mhm.
How would you, what other capabilities would you add in your CI/CD that would basically help out, like, everyone? You as a developer, QA, maybe, like, some product owner. How, what are the capabilities would you add? If you are, let's say you are given 3-month window, and I tell you that, hey, currently I have this project that we deploy, let's say, only through CI/CD, where we use CI/CD just to build it and deploy to any particular environment. I hire you as a DevOps person, and I say that, hey, make improvements. What would you suggest?
Okay, by leveraging the CI/CD pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So we can use the Jenkins actually. So in a Jenkins, actually we can provide one GitHub repo to the Jenkins. So yeah, this is the main advantage for the build. It is managing the CI/CD pipelines and everything.
Yeah, but what capabilities in CI/CD?
Capabilities. Yes.
Yeah, you can build and deploy. That's part of CI/CD. What else? What other things that would be helpful to everyone in the team?
Okay. So basically, suppose my project is running on some X and X version, and client wants some of the Y version. So this is how we can containerize whole application, everything.
So version control would be one of them.
Version control, yeah.
Okay. What else?
And containerization the whole application in one environment using Docker image, Docker containerization. So this is how because obviously we can't so we don't want to change everything regarding to version and everything. So this is how we can use the Docker to containerize the whole thing. Suppose my application is using this version and client want this version. So basically I'm creating the Docker image to just to provide them this is the changes. So this is how we can leverage using the CI/CD pipelines.
Okay. Okay. That, let's leave it there.
Yeah.
You have worked on Java for quite some time.
Mhm.
is it okay if I like if we go into depth of like some capabilities of Java and what are the things that you might have worked on? So, are you familiar with like memory leaks that happen within programming languages like C, C++, Java, Python? Anyone?
Memory leaks? No, I'm not familiar.
Did you like so? Did you ever had to handle memory leak in your Java application, despite Java having a garbage collector in itself? Or
No,
you, if you didn't had, if you haven't had chance to experience that, that's also fine. We can leave it there.
no, I haven't had any chance to,
Okay.
leveraging the memory.
Your experience working with Lambda expressions.
Yes.
Can you provide some examples of usage and scenarios where you had to use Lambda expressions and how it made life easier?
Yeah, so basically, lambda is a one type of anonymous function, we can say. So basically, instead of writing the 2-3 lines of code, it will summarize the whole code in a one line, 1 or 2 line, maybe.
Okay, so the total number of code that you will have to use would be reduced.
Yeah,
That's one.
would be
That's one way.
reduced. Yeah, that's a one way.
What else benefit can you think of? Can you give me like some simple scenario or example? If I
Yeah,
ask you that, hey, I ask you to create like a Java project on something, let's say a movie ticket booking system. How would you leverage Lambda functions to enhance the capabilities, basically, or simplify the things?
okay. So I have to code just by
No,
setting
no,
up.
no. I'm just asking. Like, you can just explain what would you do?
Okay. So basically, suppose I want to fetch something or some function that will accept two parameters as a integer a and integer b, and I have to return something. So basically, instead of writing the whole function and whole code, I can summarize in a 1 or 2 line just by mentioning the parameter and some arrow, and if there is a multiple parameter, so that we can use the some of the brackets, and that's how we can leverage by using the lambda function. So basically it's anonymous function, we can say. It doesn't have any return type or doesn't have any name.
Okay, I see. Do you have experience working on, let's say, like concurrency and multi-threading with Java?
Concurrency and multi-threading, not much, but yeah, uh, one bit ago when I was working as a software technologist.
Okay. Can you explain like what is the purpose of synchronize keyword and how does it works?
Yeah, so basically synchronize keyword is by to leveraging, suppose one method is calling in a Java, and let's say multiple thread is coming to the one method. So by using the synchronize keyword, we can inform them that this is the that you have to basically we can say the by synchronize keyword, actually we can inform them that this is the code, actually, but when multiple thread is coming, so that will wait before completing the previous thread.
Okay. Anything else would you like to add or okay? Let's leave it there. Do you experience working with collection framework?
Yes.
Okay, what is the difference between collection and collections?
Yeah, so basically collections is a interface basically, and collection is a class, actually, in
I
Java.
think is it like maybe you? I think you flipped. I think it's the other way around. But overall, that's fine. That's fine. We can
Okay.
leave it there. What is the difference between like final, finally, and finalize?
Yeah, so basically final is a keyword. So when we declare any final keyword, so we can we can't modify that variable. And when we are using the final on a method, so any person won't be able to override that method. And finally, yeah, finally, so we are using the finally basically in a exception handling. So basically we have a some try and catch block, and is one code has been written written over there using the finally. So if there is an exception occur or not occur, so finally will always execute
Okay.
until and unless you are not exit that code. So this is the difference between final and finally, sorry. And finalize is finalize. I sorry, I don't have much idea about finalize actually.
Okay, that's fine. Let's leave it there. Do you have experience working with like design patterns?
Yes.
Can you like explain maybe three, four patterns or like at least two, three patterns?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So basically, we have a three types of design pattern in Java. One is a creational design pattern, one another is a structural design pattern, and third one is a behavioral design pattern. So I have a knowledge, and I got a chance to work on singleton design pattern, builder design pattern, and factory design pattern. So
So all the creational patterns you have worked on.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, let's start with the singleton design pattern. So singleton design pattern we used in a Spring Boot project. So basically, the main motto of the singleton design pattern is there is only one and one object. So only one object is there in throughout the project, so that you cannot change the you can I mean, how can single yes, only one object throughout the project. So only one and one object is created. So no more than one object is created for the singleton. So this is how the singleton. So basically, these are the steps to create the singleton pattern. First of all, we have to uh, make our constructor as a private. Second step is we have to create the one static instance of the class, and another third step is we have to create one static method to return our static instance from that method. And yeah, and we can also create our variables as a final and static. So this is how we can use the singleton pattern. And another is a builder design pattern. So builder design, the main method of the builder design pattern is we have, suppose we have a one project and we have so many constructor and so many fields in the project. And let's say I want to use one method. Suppose I have a name, first name, username, password, I my id, my address. So I just want id, name, and password. And another constructor, in another requirement, I only want the first name, last name, and just my address. So in that case, we have to create multiple constructor in our project, so that will lead to very difficulty. So that's how, by leveraging this, we are using the builder design pattern. So so in a Spring Boot project, we are using one Lombok annotation using @builder. So that will create the one static builder class in our Java project. And just by all, so we are mentioning each and every field in a user this static class, and just to return that static class. So this is how we can use the builder design pattern. And another is a factory design pattern. So the main motto of the factory design pattern is to um I think say factory design pattern. Code actually, no, 1 second. Yeah, so basically the main motto of the factory design pattern is to is to let's say suppose I have a one pizza class. So I want some of the, let's say, pizza, and I want some of the toppings and everything. Suppose I want to add the tomato, jalapeno, some of the pepperoni and on it. So for the all the modification, actually we are creating one factory actually. So rather than modifying the existing class, so we are creating one factory class. So this is the three design pattern that I got a chance to work on.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for
Yeah.
explaining. I think you went in pretty much like detail, so that's good. Okay. Like, are you familiar with like top 10 or security vulnerabilities, or like how basically your application can be vulnerable towards attacks, and how would you do to make sure that like bad actors can't get to it?
Yeah. So basically, I'm just familiar with the CSRF attacks, the like cross site request forgery attack.
Okay.
not not much actually.
What like have you worked on it? How would you prevent against like cross-site request for attacks?
Mm, Actually, to be honest, I don't remember it yet right now.
Okay, okay, let's leave it there. Um, do you have any experience working with like implementing unit test cases or within your Java application?
Yes.
Was it like JUnit test case,
JUnit
Mockito?
and Mockito, yeah. JUnit
Oh,
Mockito.
you did both of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like what are typically like fixtures or test use and assertions? Can you explain in
Mm,
the context of JUnit?
yeah, sure. So basically, JUnit, basically we are using the JUnit and Mockito for the integration and unit testing. And for that, actually, we are testing the repository class and service class and controller class, everything. So just to by testing the repository class, we are using the some of the integration testing like JUnit, and we are using the assert J library as well. Assert J library, assert that, and we are also using the before each and after each method. For that, suppose I want to test the repository method, so I have to create the one, let's say we have a entity, so I have to create the object of the entity before testing the repository class. So we are using the before each assert J, just to just to mention by three three way. First of all is a mocking, no uh, assert, and another is three things actually we have to call
Okay,
this.
that's fine. Let's leave it there. I think yeah, you have some idea. That's fine. Now you mentioned you have some experience with Spring Boot, right? Spring Boot
Mhm.
and Spring Cloud.
Yeah.
And do you have any experience working with microservice architecture?
Yes.
Okay, can you give me like some ideas? Maybe let's try to make it brief. Some points on how would Spring Boot facilitate microservice architecture? Like, what are some of the key benefits
Yeah,
that you can identify?
sure. So basically, the main benefit of the microservices architecture are, we used to work on a monolithic architecture beforehand when the microservices was not there. So suppose we have a, 14 to 15 services actually when our project get some of the requirement and everything, and when we deploy on a production actually. So suppose we are facing some of the issue in a one service, so we have to deploy the whole application again. So by leveraging this issue, the what microservices is suggested, it will be have a every services we are creating the one new project. I mean, suppose the 15 services, so we have a 15 project with the microservices. So basically, this is how the microservices leverage the problem of that, and just by using the gateway, we are communicating the each and every microservices with that, and we are.
Okay, and how did Spring Boot help you in that? Like, what benefits Spring Boot had to add?
I mean, Spring Boot in terms of microservices.
I mean, yeah, let's say if I have a new system I'm trying to create, I have 15, I would say, yeah, 15 functionalities that I've defined, for
Mhm.
which each one I need separate microservice that I'm going to deploy and have them run independently, scale up, scale down, communicate with each other on its own, be loosely coupled, right? Get
Yes.
all the benefits of microservice architecture. How would Spring Boot basically help me in that? Do you think like maybe I can use some other framework on Java versus Spring Boot, or Spring Boot is more beneficial compared to like something else? Do you have any idea about that?
Um, yeah, Spring Boot is basically just to create the enterprise applications. So the main
So
benefit.
does like Java EE, like it can also do enterprise application. JSF can also do enterprise applications. There are like 10 frameworks Java has to offer. So how does like what are like some of the good things Spring Boot has to offer?
It's actually uh, mm,
Okay, let's leave it there. Like, do you have experience creating RESTful APIs and RESTful services?
yes.
Okay, like how do you create a RESTful web service in Spring Boot?
RESTful web services. So basically, first of all, for any RESTful web services, we are first of all we have to create a REST controller actually, just by mentioning the REST controller annotation. And depending upon the API requirement, suppose it's a GET API, POST API, PUT API, delete API. So we have to mention the each and every annotation, and by just by calling the method. Suppose we have a GET API, so we have to create the GET API annotation and GET API endpoints in a basically in our REST controller. So this is how we can create the API. So just by calling the service, it will controller. Basically, it will call the service layer, and service layer basically eventually call the repository just to for the database purpose. So this is how we can create the RESTful services in our Spring Boot application.
No, that's nice. So do you have experience working with like Spring Boot actuator?
Actuator. Really, I just got an idea. Basically, it will check the health check and metric 6 for the RESTful API just by mentioning the one dependency as a Spring Boot actuator in a pom.xml.
That's good. Okay, yeah, that's what it is being used for. What do you think? Like, let's say within my same Spring Boot application, if I have to maintain multiple environments like Dev, QA, UAT, production, something, how would you do?
Just by mentioning whether it's a development environment, so we can mention the environment in just our application.properties file, and if there is any microservices architecture, so we can mention in our config file, the main config file, Spring Cloud config file. This is how we
Okay,
can.
that's nice. What do you think about like data access and persistence within the context of a Spring Boot application? Do you have any experience working on like having data access? Basically, your application needs to speak with the data, and let's say that there are some transactions that you need to persist because the calls go back and forth, and you need that data in order to process something. How would you handle that?
By using the transactional annotation in our service and repository class. So anything, suppose let's say we are doing the database operation, and at the seventh at 8 point of flight, let's say some exception is gonna occur. So by using the transaction annotation, it will roll back the whole transaction for the database. So this is how.
Oh, okay, so are you familiar with the asset properties?
Asset properties, yes.
What can you just explain briefly what it is?
Atomicity, integrity, durability, and consistency. Yeah. So this is how the and atomicity, consistency.
Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Just l- managing asset property within the context of an application is an expensive task because it you need to maintain a lot of things. So, what are some of the questions you would ask yourself before deciding that, hey, for this particular transaction, we will have to maintain the asset property. For this set of things, maybe we can ignore and be more lenient, or how do you balance that out?
I mean, in the terms of writing the queries and everything.
No, not writing the queries, like actually implementing the system. Let's say I give you two scenarios. One is you are working in Facebook as a developer, and I ask you that go and do some modifications with the user profile page where user basically first time logs in and enters bunch of information. So how would you handle that as compared to, let's say, in Facebook, I have another application where it tracks that if you post something, like how many likes it got or how many views it got. So Both requires like very separate kind of like data management property, right? So which one do you think is like more prone towards maintaining that asset property, and why it is, versus the other one where you can be like, hey, let me be a little bit more lenient?
Sorry, no idea actually.
Okay, that's fine. Don't rush yourself. um do you have some experience maintaining the you mentioned like asset property data consistency, right? And you also mentioned microservice architecture. Let's say you have two separate microservices. They both speaks with a common shared database, and they both wants to update the exact same column, like exact same row, let's assume. And so how do you manage that at the exact same time?
I mean, one method is calling the same method. This is how.
No, not same method, the same data point behind the scenes. So let's say I have application one, that is basically charging customer money for something, right? It's a Since it's, let's say it's a bank, so they are charging person for their interest on their credit card that they haven't paid. And I have microservice B that basically refunds the money. So let's say that client did made the payment and there was something change, and now we had to basically repay that money back. So one is saying that charge the money, one microservice on the same data, and the another microservice is saying that refund the money, and both transaction happens at the same time. So who gets to change what, and how would that work? Don't stress if you can't answer it. This is like slightly higher level question, so don't worry. uh if you can't like think of solution right now.
Okay.
Okay. Let me give you a simple scenario. Let's say I ask you that I provide you currently a string. Um, let's say it's your name, Vanshika, and I ask you to reverse or that create a method that would basically take in a string as an input and reverse all the characters and return it in the output. How would you do it?
Yes.
And let's say you can't use default like string builder class or any of the existing string methodology. I ask you to like iterate over the string one by one and then start reversing all the characters.
Yeah. So basically, we the best method to use to reverse the string is first of all we have to use the character array
Okay,
and
you will use the character
turn
array.
the, yeah,
And
turn the loop into and then another character array.
and
Then we can store it and then just to after that this character array can eventually convert into the string. This is how we can.
okay, so let's say that's a fair solution. It would work as expected. I ask you that this method can receive like millions of characters in as an input, something like that, maybe like a very large number. So character array would consume and that much extra space that we just don't have the luxury to leverage. Do you think like maybe instead of using extra space, we can try to reverse like within like in the given context without using extra space?
So another method is by using the stream. I think stream and lambda function we can use. I think
How?
um just by using the filter no I think map. One of the method is map stream method. So I think yeah. Actually, I have to. Can I write the code for that?
No, just explain.
Okay.
We don't want to go into depth, but thanks for taking the initiative. Are you familiar with like the common two sum problem?
To some problem.
Two sum, yeah.
To
Let's say I give you in an input, like an array, and I give you a target value, let's say anything, and I say that this target, basically there are two characters in the given array that sums up to that target value. That's a given fact, that there is only going to be just one solution where there are only two values.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you identify those characters?
Actually, I remember that by we can leverage it by using the array and hashing technologies just by using that. I think so. We are basically storing the each and every character in a hash table, and then I think we have to initialize one variable to just to check. Actually, I think X variable. Initially, we have to initialize it some where supposed to is a 9 or 10 or something. So by using this variable and by using the for loop, actually we have to check that, oh, this suppose given sum and minus, suppose let's say in a zeroth index there is a 2. So 9 minus 2 or 7. So first of all we have to actually create the hash table. Actually we have to insert one value. Let's say suppose on the zeroth element I have a 2, so let's say I'm inserting the 2 second element, and then by again we are using the for loop, and just by using the for loop, actually let's say and the first indent there is a 7. So before that 7 we have to check. Actually let's say we have initialized the x is equal to 9. So by using the 9, actually we have to create the by subtracting the 9 minus 7 is equal to 2. So we have to check in our hash tables, oh 2 is already exist or not. If that is not exist, so we have to insert, and if that already exists, so we can return this that the values index and the actual index of our array. So this is how we can find the two sum in a by using.
Okay, okay. I think you know the solutions. That's good. I think, yeah, that basically puts end to all of my questions I had. If you have any questions, yeah, feel free, or I can give you some tips that I personally felt you can improve upon. How do you feel about it?
Yeah. So, do you have any feedback? So, where is the idea? Where is the area so that I can improvise more?
Yeah, of course. Like, right now, your interview is after half an hour, so I don't think you would be able to see the recording. But I would share the recording with you,
Sure.
so just for your own reference. So I would suggest that you go and look out on the whole interview, that whole recording. So that would give you quite a good idea. Number one, when you give introduction about yourself, like, try to be brief and be happy rather than just, hey, I remembered all of these like 10 points and let me just speak out all of them as quickly as possible. Just like, try to have a normal conversation. It would go much nicer. And yeah, I think you have good knowledge of overall Java and Java frameworks and Java concepts, so that's good. Some advanced level things I think you are lacking, so, and that comes with experience, right? You go through that scenarios, you actually feel, you see those wartime stories, and then you realize that, hey, this is how it's done, or this is how I can improve. So maybe, yeah, put some more emphasis into that. And many questions, I felt that you are not getting what I'm exactly trying to ask. So, like, scenario with DevOps, capabilities of DevOps, so you can add capabilities like static scan, dynamic scan, automated test cases, deploy across multiple environments, role based access control. So those are like good capabilities that DevOps has to offer. Maybe you just haven't worked on it, so that's why you might not be familiar with that. Also, the other thing, when I told you about, like, issue with your manager, and you mentioned like GCP, Kafka, and how does that like fall into picture, and what is the differences, and what was like your manager's point of view, what was your point of view, what research you did, what was like, of course, Kafka is great, everyone knows that. Why it's great? It's open source, maybe it's free to use, it does not cost you that much money, maybe just the money to run the things. But what could be some of the issues? It's a longer learning curve, so team might not be familiar with that. Meanwhile, if it's like GCP pops up, it's a in-house solution, so very quick to set up and run. These are like some of the differences, so you could have mentioned. Overall, yeah, many times you have this tendency when you are thinking, it's good if you look like this for maybe 2 3 4 times. I think you did like 50 times. So try to see if you can just
Yeah, sure.
look at the
I do
camera.
it.
So
Yeah.
because it's a virtual interview, so there is no eye contact that we can make in that regard. So yeah, just do that. Also, if you need time to think, just say that, hey, let me think out the solution. If you can't find an answer, just be like, hey, I'm just be very thorough within like next 10-20 seconds, that I can't think of a solution. What do you think it should be? Or you can even ask your interviewer, do you think I'm going in this direction, but let me know if I'm completely wrong, and then I might not even know the answer. Because it's a fair game that you can't know everything. And what company or in manager is basically looking at is how honest are you, and like, can you learn things quickly, can you identify those. Yeah, so if you don't know things, just like be okay and say it with, yeah, I don't know, I haven't worked on it. And that's a fair thing.
Yeah, and we can say if I got a chance, if I will get a chance, so I will, happy to learn those things.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, I can understand that
Yeah.
quickly. I can learn it. You can
Yeah.
also ask, prepare some questions that you are going to ask your interviewer. That, hey, how does the team work? What is the culture looks like? What technology you are currently working on? What your typical day to day looks like? Uh, what do you think is the biggest challenge with your company right now, or with your team? What kind of projects are you working on? You can ask these questions. If they are good questions,
Yeah.
it will give you an idea that what an actual role would look like.
Okay. And RBC has any another interview round after that technical round? I
You
think.
can ask that. You can ask that to the, because it varies from team to team.
Oh
When
yeah.
I interviewed
Sure.
in RBC, I interviewed like 7-8 years ago.
Hmm.
So it was different back then. That too, I had to go through like a behavioral interview and a technical discussion, and then I had to do like a technical presentation with the manager, and
Okay.
then I had another interview with the director. So I had like 3-4 interviews, but that was
Okay.
like 6-7 years back. So I don't know. Different teams have different ways, but I think from what I can say, based on my experience with RBC, they were not huge on DSA. They were mostly focused on, if they are hiring you for Java developer, like Java based questions, and maybe database related questions, CI/CD pipelines, things like that.
Okay. So what do you think by using this knowledge, can I clear the interview?
I don't know, like,
Okay. Yeah.
because you also wouldn't know, right? They
Yeah.
are not interviewing just you; they are interviewing like 10 other
I
people.
understand.
So you could have answered every single question 100% accurately
Mm-hmm.
and still not get the job, because someone else just might happen to be better than you. But don't let it be a discouraging sign.
Yeah.
It, yeah, it's just the nature of the game. So keep on improving yourself. That's
Yeah.
what I would say.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
any questions for me, or I think we are good to end this.
Yeah, we are good to go.
Now you notice that how many times did Vanshika felt like under the stress or awkward pauses. Many times she did not know the answer. She was looking upside, downside, left and right, and all of those places. Those are the key things that you don't get to experience unless you are sitting in a real interview, and that's why mock interviews are really powerful tool. You can significantly improve your interviewing skills and also your odds of getting that next dream job that you're looking for. Now, if you want to book a mock interview with me, the information is quite simple. I have provided a Calendly link below the comments of this video. You can go on that link and find an open available slot. I have also asked for some information and some questions, so feel free to fill out those questions. So at least I have some idea that what I'm doing for the mock interview. Also, I just want to give like a brief best code of conduct, or basically best practices. Don't apply for a mock interview, don't book a mock interview if you are not prepared. I don't want to be in a situation where halfway down the interview I can just say that, hey, I think you need more preparation. If you genuinely feel like you have prepared well and you are just trying to improve yourself, then only please feel free to go ahead and do it. Because of course your time is valuable and so is mine, and I want to make sure that I spend it wisely, helping out as many number of people as I can. If you're not prepared, there is nothing to be ashamed of. I would still be doing like mock interview of other people that you can see and gain that experience and learn the key important things here and there. So feel free to do it. Also, at the same time, I would recommend that you basically just keep on checking my stuff and mention in the comments that how do you think I can improve on the existing video. Now I just want to be clear, I do not charge any fees for any of my stuff, or everything is free and available on YouTube. I'm a big believer in free education, and I want to help people grow in their career, and it's a personal satisfaction that I get. So I'm not going to charge anything for the mock interviews. I just need your consent that after the mock interview, I will record the session and you allow me to upload it on the YouTube. If you want, you can keep your camera turned off. If you don't want to show your face, that's absolutely acceptable. But needless to say, if you agree to do a mock interview with me, I hope that you will allow me to publish it on the YouTube, and that would, then it would be worth my time as well, and also would help a lot of other people. So hopefully you can understand, and the Calendly link is below this video in the comments, so feel free to go and check it out from there. Till then, thank you.